Hey, it's good to be back. I'm gonna tell you I saw the Backrooms when it released a while ago now. But before anything else, I have to be honest about you how I ended up watching this movie. We just finished the semester and me and my friends were like, well, let's do something. Let's go to the movies. We wanted to watch The Devil Wears Prada 2 because it was new. The point is, it wasn't the Backrooms. But my friend showed up an hour late. So the movie we wanted had already started and the next option was this one. That's how I ended up watching the Backrooms by pure accident. And so my entire experience with the Backrooms before this was fucking Roblox. Roblox game where Kanye West or I don't know, whatever main character chases you through infinite hallways of yellow carpet. Just memes, and as far as I know, that's all there was for the Backrooms. And that was my friend reference. So you will expect nothing from a movie inspired by that. So when I heard about that, when I was in the theaters, I was like, really? Is this gonna be good? I don't think so. How do you take something that's basically a solo POV creepypasta and turn it into something actually watchable? But they did it. I mean, it's entertaining to say the least. The first thing that you notice is the visual style. It's a start with a really intense scene in a POV shot with old cameras, that grainy dirty look that gives them a really uncomfortable presence. That aesthetic is the highlight of the movie by far. When this is the main focus of it is when it shines the most, I think. This is not a jump scare movie, that's why I like it the most. And also it doesn't abuse gore. Like it's more of suspense and build up and that feeling that something's wrong but you don't know exactly what or when it's going to happen. And when it do happen, it does work pretty well. The scene where Clark employee gets slowly pulled away down a ramp is genuinely unsettling. The whole arc of the employees going with Clark into the basement, into the back rooms, is really well done. Like it puts you in their shoes, which is something you expect from a movie that is called themselves a horror movie, right? So the opening scene, Clark exploring alone the first time and doing it with the employees, with the camera, they are really immersive and really well built. They don't need to show you a lot of blood for you to know or feel the horror. Your imagination does the rest. Like you don't need to see everything explicitly to actually feel that something's wrong here and many people had gone and have been lost. It's really implied. And that's something most horror movies today completely miss. Either being too much of a jump scare or just being overly explicit about it that you're just bored out of your mind. This is where it genuinely gets interesting. I'm going purely from what I understand from watching it, no prior lore, really, like what I understood, right? So the premise is that the backrooms aren't just a place, they are memories. Kind of a memory zone, some bullshit like that. Memories of how things are supposed to be, but corrupted by time. Like if you ask someone who's never seen a dog to describe one, they will get some things right and some things wrong. That's something they say in the movie. So yeah, and explains it quite literally. The backrooms are really just that, like the subconscious trying to reconstruct familiar spaces and memories that have already been forgotten or have been corroded to time, like time corrodes everything. That's why they feel empty, that's why they feel off, and the deeper levels, the more distorted, not because they're more dangerous in kind of, but because they're memories that have been forgotten for longer. The movie as the characters do. It doesn't hold your hand, which is pretty cool. So the main character is called Clark. He's kind of a store manager and kind of a rough spot in life right now. He's not doing what he wanna do, and his love life is not doing good. Really bad, to be honest. That's why he's a psychologist. That is Dr. Malik Kane. Oh my fuck. Dr. Mary Klein. that is the psychologist who goes look for him later on in the movie. Clark is the weirdest part, but kind of the strongest part, I will say, because he goes from terrified to almost accepting the place, and it's especially weird because all his conflict that is established throughout the movie is also kind of solved quickly. In the times of the movie, it seems quickly, but in the movie, the in universe, it seems that it was a long ass time. But that's kind of one of the weakest parts, I think. And also, that kind of connects with the villain of the movie, the monster, the dark figure that is Clark himself, dressed like a pirate, built from what people and he remembers from his old commercial. How people remember him and how he's this distorted is cause he's been there quite long, and it seems like the place had been closed for a while now and people had brushed him off their memories. When Clark accepts that I am you and you are me, he becomes part of the place. Whether that's surviving or just a different kind of being lost, the movie leaves it open, and I think that's kind of intentional, and it's kind of closure of his whole character. He goes from struggling in life and being really lost to kind of taking control, like going there and exploring and doing stuff there and surviving there, to then accepting all that and dying. Cause that happened, he dies. Cause he kind of becomes crazy. He's been there with these all subliminal and distorted memories of his ex, and everything else in that space can drive anyone nuts. And then the psychologist has her own connection to all of this. Her mother was institutionalized for something related to the backrooms, and she was the little girl from the flashback. She's just not an investigator, she's already inside this. Personally, when the psychologist gets interrogated at the end and freezes and distorts, I think she's already inside the backrooms. Not physically, but the memory from the people that knew her, the interviewer, it's all that remains of her, and that memory goes to the backrooms like everything else. The cycle repeats. What happened to her mother happens to her, and I might be completely wrong, but that's what I took from it. And the other ending is that she just fucking killed, and that's the only thing that people remembers. And instead of getting into a psych ward, he just get silenced. You know, classic shady shit. The Backrooms is a good movie. It's not a conventional horror movie, which I had seen a few in the past few years and are no good. They're just snooze fest, and some of them can be like, oh, this plot can be entertaining, but at the end up just being, oh well, it's solved like a DBC episode, and they just now fucking everyone has powers, and yeah, they defeated. Yeah, did we came to saw a horror movie actually, or this is a shonen? That happens in most of horror movies today. I feel that happened with The Mummy. Really, that kind of movie that goes full graphic, touches dark themes, and makes you uncomfortable for an hour and a half, and then wraps it up neatly with revenge like none of it matter. This demon that will bring plague and horrible stuff, well, was contained by a random ass family. I mean, it was kind of interesting to see the process of them stopping it, but it didn't feel like horror but more shock value. They used shock as decoration really, and the Backrooms doesn't seem to do that really. The discomfort that you feel is from that like liminal space, weird space of, well, I know this, but this isn't supposed to be like that. So yeah, I mean, I didn't like the Mummy movie. It's obviously not movie of the year. It has its flaws, but it's generally a good watch. And it's not a bad movie as people say. It's far better than other movies, and you should give it a try. I didn't even talk about the story or the characters really in depth here, so you can go and watch and expect something interesting from the movie.